Hey y'all, welcome to my channel, Divinely Transformed. I'm so glad to have you here, whether you're new or returning. This is a little bit different of a video. I was meditating right before I was ready to do the video, and during my meditation, I was I got this mental image of like my heart. Okay, like just like a fleshy kind of whatever, okay, fleshy organ. And I knew it was my heart, but anyhow, and then I saw like little scabs on it, okay? And this is like looking inside like my own heart, and like everybody's heart has their own scabs. But so I got this image of divine forces like picking the scabs so that they can come to the surface, so that they can be dealt with appropriately and released appropriately. And that is essentially triggers. Triggers is the scabs of pain and sorrow and anger on your heart that whenever someone comes along and does something, says something, whatever, triggers you, what happens is like that scab gets picked off and it comes to the surface, and boom, like people who are unable to control their emotions, they explode. So like the whole point and purpose of the journey is to feel better about yourself. And you must have emotional mastery in order to feel better about yourself. And it's a trying process. It's something you work on every single day to not react to things that would cause that fear thing, that trigger, that scab that comes up, bubbles up to the surface of your emotions, of, the water, and, but the purpose of it is not to blow up. It's to just recognize it for what it is and take a step back from it and think about what is going on. What is this showing me? What is this teaching me? That's really what the purpose behind it is supposed to be, instead of just rolling with the emotions and just saying and doing whatever comes out. So, because that's, it's hurting people, and we shouldn't be doing that. And, we can just do our best every single day just to try to be the best versions of ourselves so we're not hurting other people. Because really, when we're hurting other people, all we're doing is hurting ourselves. And it doesn't matter who anybody is to you. Like, it's just what it is. It's a mirror effect. You hurt someone, it's going to hurt you too. I mean, that's just the laws of the universe. That's what karma is. And you just don't get away with it. I mean, you might feel like, oh, well, nothing's happening to you in the physical. Like you're working just fine and you're doing your life just fine or whatever. But it affects little things in your life. It pollutes it, making bigger scabs and bigger smog clouds in your life, making you more and more stuck. Until you get to the point where you're just so stuck, you're backed into a corner, and it has affected every aspect of your life. Do you want it to get that far? Because it can, and it will. It will kill you if you let it. Just fear will kill anybody. That's what dying of a broken heart is just like sitting in that emotion and just not letting it out and just not getting past it and just immersing yourself in it until you just drown. That's what that is. It's really sad, and it's unnecessary. It doesn't have to be that way. Because the more that someone doesn't express themselves emotionally, the more that they drown, and the more restricted they are in their lives, and the more they're not happy. And You know, anybody can say, oh, well, I am happy, blah, blah, blah. But deep down, if you really check yourself, I don't think you are. Does it really have to get to the point where you have nothing? Because it will take you that far. But it's your choice. I mean, just think about it. Like, since you've started doing whatever it is that you're doing, or, you know, the hiding and keeping things to yourself, okay? Like, how has that negatively impacted you? And has that gotten worse over time? So, if that is bad and it's gotten worse over time, that means it will continue to get worse over time until you just can't stand it anymore. And that's just how the spiritual laws of the universe work. Because we're not supposed to be keeping secrets. Secrets hurt. Whether it's a good secret or a bad secret, like, it hurts to not have the freedom to express ourselves. And it might not hurt at first, and it might not hurt for a really long time, but eventually, like, it really becomes a heavy burden. So anybody who has kept a secret long enough can attest to that. And depending on the severity of the secret that one had carried, it determines on how much and it'll break you down and how fast it will break you down. Because it'll come after spiritual first. And then once you're spiritually polluted, then it goes on to mental aspects of, you know, and it corrupts your thinking, and it corrupts your physical body eventually, where, you know, it affects your health. And then it starts affecting your finances, your ability to take care of yourself, your stable foundation. It affects those things. Kaboom. A life is game over. I mean, if you don't have stability in any of those things, and you know, and I can attest to the fact that I had no stability in all of those facets of my life, and I can tell you that it was extremely painful, and it was a huge burden, and it was like the worst feeling of stuck you could ever imagine. It like that scene in Nightmare on Elm Street, and Nancy's running away from Freddy. She slams the door and she's running up the stairs, and the steps turn into marshmallows because, you know, she's in the dream or whatever. That's exactly how I felt. And I was in that situation for years because, I had physical health problems. I couldn't work. And then I got really depressed. It affected every aspect of who I was to a fundamental level, because by nature, I'm a hard worker and I value my work, and I have pride in my work because pride in the sense that I want to deserve my paycheck, earn it correctly. And when I wasn't able to work, everything was just taken from me. Like my identity. Because then I didn't know where I fit in the world. I couldn't take care of myself. I couldn't take care of my kids. And that made me feel even worse, as a parent. Knowing my kids needed me and were counting on me, and I couldn't do anything. Being helpless. And in a corner is the loneliest and most painful place to be. Yes, I wanted to die. And yes, I thought about doing it. But no, I decided that I was actually going to try to live my best life this time, to do it the right way, to do it the way I'm supposed to. And I prayed and I said, God, just please teach me what I'm supposed to know in order to have my best life, because I'd lived a whole life of bullshit and bad and awful and worse, and I was just done. And which leads me to, I have a little bit of a treat for you. So, my son's girlfriend is an artist, okay? And I really like her, and I just welcome her into the family someday. And I really respect her creativity. And I know this is a simple picture, and this does not reflect the completeness of her ability by any means, okay? I just happen to like simple things. She is extremely talented. And this bears into the conversation. She gave me this last year on my son's birthday when he turned 22. 22, the Master Builder number. And they're in a very special coupleship, in my opinion. Her name is Lily Corbin. I will leave her details in the description below. But the reason why I'm showing you this is because I am grateful to the Tower energy. I am grateful to the planet of Pluto. Most people are scared of the Tower and they're like, oh my God, the Tower is coming. Most people are angry about the Tower because it's coming to take shit away that you want. I am absolutely grateful for the Tower. I am grateful that it destroyed everything in my life that was never meant to be there in the first place, because it was all harming me. And I didn't know it. The fucking Tower changed my life, man. And I am forever in debt, feeling, to the planet Pluto. My whole life, all I knew is that I had a strong desire to transform. And yeah, I'm going to go into a little bit of a backstory, okay? All I ever wanted to do was change. Change. Well, little did I know. Oh, well, okay. There was a little bit of a duality to that. All I wanted to do was change, but I didn't want anything around me to change. See? I wanted control already from the very beginning. But, over the years I've learned. Okay, so anyhow. So, all I wanted to do was change. I wanted a different life. I wanted to be a different person, etc., etc. I wanted to do something different. It was always the next new thing, like the next new adventure. And most of the time, it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. And most of the time, it turned out to be a disappointment. But it didn't matter to me, because, I've always been excited about life. And always wanted to try new experiences, because I always believed that there could be that one time that I took a chance and it was worth it. So, anyhow. So, I'm that kind of a person, right? So, my first email address was anti-machine and some kind of numbers, because, I don't know. I have a very revolutionary mindset, and especially back then, but I took it to a dark extreme back then. So, I was against the system. I was against technology. I mean, I still hold grudges against, the system, as it were, government systems and the world system. And I still have grudges against technology, but I definitely don't have that intense hatred anymore. It's more of a nuisance kind of to me. But anyhow, so my second email address was transformationwormgirl@hotmail.com. No shit. Transformation worm girl. That's how I saw myself. I saw myself as a little worm all my life. And I was very heavily influenced by Marilyn Manson at the time, so I happened to be listening to it whenever I happened to think up that email address, because it had to be something that didn't have numbers in it. And because I have a hard time remembering numbers. Well, I have easier time remembering numbers now, but it has to be numbers that I choose. Numbers that mean something to me. But anyhow, back to what I'm talking about. So, all right, so I always knew that I wanted to become something better and different. And I never knew how it was going to happen. I kind of had an inkling that it wasn't going to be because I did it. But I didn't know what was going to happen, okay? And to be honest with you, my life, I lived, very much not having faith in a whole lot of anything for a long time. Even though, I was always, naturally in tune to the divine, and I've always prayed. And I felt a strong, close connection to God as far back as I can remember, to 2 years old. I was thinking about God in a loving and enamorous way and imagining him like this majestic mountain. Anyhow. But, so anyway, then my third email address was 11, what was it? 11theworm11@gmail.com. So, okay, my next one, I decided that I guess I was just going to be the worm because I didn't know how to change, so I just accepted that as my foundation, I guess. Well, that was my last email address. Well, I ditched that 2 years ago. My new email address is divinelytransformed1133@gmail.com. Yes, those numbers are significant to me. And, but it's just like a natural evolution of who I am reflected in my email addresses over the years from start to current. So I find that extremely interesting, and it definitely bears into the conversation. So, there you have it. I'm going to leave it there because I could rattle on forever and ever. But I just wanted to put that out there about triggers and what they're actually supposed to be for and what they are spiritually. So, like I said, if you're interested in looking at more of Lily's art, I will have her information in the description below. Thank you very much again, and have a wonderful day.